Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Sadia Yakubu. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. In the face of severe hardship and economic stress occasioned by the rising cost of living nationwide, President Bola Tinubu has convened a special session of the National Economic Council in Abuja, where he urged governors to deepen collaboration with the federal government to ensure that the economic reforms currently underway translate into tangible benefits for Nigerians at the grassroots levels. This is coming days after the United States criticized some governors for engaging in extravagant spending, while the country is grappled with deepening economic hardship by spending billions of naira on new government buildings and luxury projects, despite widespread poverty and deteriorating public services. Meanwhile, the former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, in a reaction, said the recent condemnation by the United States mission in Nigeria has exposed the country to global ridicule. The Federal Executive Council has approved 987 billion naira worth of contracts for extensive infrastructure upgrade at airports across Nigeria. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Kayamo announced this after a council meeting, which was presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the State House in Abuja. He explained that the project will be financed through the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Development Fund. The federal government has directed the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to collaborate with state governors on developing bankable housing projects to bring a home ownership solution directly to citizens. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Engiwa, gave the directive during the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria Day at the 19th Africa International Housing Show in Abuja. Engiwa, represented by Mark Chishi, his special advisor, media and strategy, said the initiative is designed to bridge the gap between the federal housing policy and the state-level action, while taking home ownership solutions directly to citizens as part of federal government's Renewed Hope state-by-state home ownership and housing development. The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to creating a supportive legal environment that encourages technology progress while safeguarding rights and promoting responsible use of creative and innovative works. The Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Justice, Beatrice Jedi Agba, retired the government commitment during the opening of a one-day sensitization and interactive session on the legal use of software in the engineering, construction and building design sectors. Jedi Agba observed that in today's digital age, the use of software has become the backbone of innovation, design and implementation in engineering and related fields. In a bid to curtail incessant industrial action by the trade unions, the federal government has approved the National Industrial Relations Policy 2025 to check strikes. This came as the government said that the continuous circular that led the recent strike by health workers have been withdrawn. Meanwhile, the government will meet with striking nurses today. Meanwhile, organized labor has vowed to resist any attempt by external forces to cause disunity between the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria (TUC), so as to weaken the agitation for workers' welfare. The Senior Staff Association of Universities, Teaching Hospitals, Research Institutes, and Associated Institute has urged the federal government to immediately implement the 65-year retirement age policy for all categories of staff in colleges of agriculture and related disciplines. The association made the call via a communique issued at the end of a sectorial council meeting held at the Federal College of Animal Health and Production Technology in Jos Plateau State. and signed by the chairman, Idris Shedrack, and the secretary, Yusuf Dada. The association argued that the policy is vital for equity, institutional stability, and retention of experienced manpower in the critical sector of the economy. The House of Representatives has begun deliberation on a controversial bill proposing to move the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau from the Ministry of Aviation to the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. While the proposal aims to enhance independence and coordination across the transport sector, it has sparked sharp division among stakeholders. National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick reports.
At a public hearing in Abuja, the atmosphere was tense as aviation stakeholders clashed over a bill seeking to reposition the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau under the presidency.
While it may have the political support, but it will be lacking in technical activities. This indeed may dilute, the word is may dilute its domain-specific responsiveness. It will impede knowledge sharing and weaken the functional alignment with sector-specific agencies.
However, not everyone agreed. Representatives from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Ministry of Special Duties backed the move, saying it will strengthen institutional independence and ensure broader oversight.
The Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation is a neutral, coordinating body, not involved in sector-specific operations. Domiciling NSIB under OSGF safeguards its objectivity, free from potential conflict of interest.
Sponsor of the bill, Honorable Isiaq Akinlade, argued that the current structure under the Aviation Ministry hinders the Bureau's effectiveness, citing institutional bottlenecks and overlapping mandates with agencies like the Federal Road Safety Commission and the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency.
This limitation undermines the Bureau's ability to fulfill its mandate due to institutional bottlenecks, lack of independence, and fragmented interagency coordinations across Nigeria's transport regulatory ecosystem.
Speaker of the House of Representatives, represented by Honorable Kwamoti Lowry, welcomed the debate, describing the amendments as a step towards aligning Nigeria with international transport safety standards. Anita Patrick, Global Television News.
The National Assembly is renewing effort to boost women's participation in politics through the Reserved Seat for Women Bill, a proposed legislation aimed at closing Nigeria's gender gap in governance. National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick takes it from here.
Despite making up nearly half of Nigeria's population, women remain significantly underrepresented in politics. 14 state houses of assembly currently have no female members at all. The bill seeks to address this imbalance by creating one additional seat for women in both the Senate and the House of Representatives in all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. It also proposes 3 reserved seats for women in each state assembly, totaling 182 seats nationwide. Both chairpersons of the House and the Senate Committees on Women Affairs, Honorable Kafilat Ogbara and Senator Ireti Kingigbe, say increased female representation will drive development and tackle poverty more effectively.
By increasing women's representation, we can ensure that their perspectives, their views, needs, rights are adequately addressed in policy formulation and implementation.
So I advocate and call on all the women of this country to please go out, speak to the men, speak to everybody you can speak to get their support for these 74 reserved seats.
The United Nations Development Programme and other advocates, including former lawmaker Benila, are also lending their voices to the push, urging grassroots mobilization to ensure the bill passes.
Women currently occupy fewer than 5% of seats in the National Assembly. This isn't just a gap, it is a call to action, a call to dismantle structural barriers, disrupt the status quo, and build a more inclusive and just governance.
If passed, the bill could make a major turning point in Nigeria's political landscape, giving women a stronger voice in decision-making across all levels of government. Annie T. Patrick, Global Television News.
The National Orientation Agency has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to hand over full responsibility to voter education to it as part of effort to improve electoral participation in Nigeria. Director General of the agency, Lanre Issa Onilu, made the appeal during a courtesy visit to INEC Chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakub, in Abuja. Anita Patrick tells us more.
As Nigeria continues to battle voter apathy, the National Orientation Agency is pushing to take full charge of voter education across the country. The agency's Director General lamented the persistent low voter turnout in elections, including the recent Lagos State Council polls, which he said recorded only 6% participation. Issa Onilu said voter education is part of the National Orientation Agency's core mandate, but regretted that the agency lacks a dedicated budget for democracy education and is rarely acknowledged for its efforts.
We are here to seek collaboration to ensure that we prepare well for the coming off-season elections, and importantly for the general election that is almost here, and there's a lot to do. Considering the knowledge gap.
INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu, on his part, acknowledged the National Orientation Agency's strategic grassroots presence and emphasized the need for collaboration, describing election management as a multi-agency responsibility. Professor Yakubu praised the National Orientation Agency's recent initiatives like the NOA Content Factory, which uses television, radio, and newsletters to engage citizens, particularly young people, locally and abroad.
I would like us to explore further areas of partnership through our voter education and publicity and other relevant departments, particularly with the recent creation by the Commission of an Artificial Intelligence Division under our ICT department.
Both agencies say they will continue to explore stronger partnership opportunities ahead of the Anambra governorship election. Annie T. Patrick, Global Television News.
Some internally displaced persons, IDP, from various camps in Benue State have besieged the Benue-Lafia Federal Highway, blocking the road and preventing vehicles from moving in or out of the state. The protest left many motorists and passengers stranded as the displaced person expressed deep frustration over their prolonged stay in camps. Our Benue State correspondent, Felicity Ndiri, was there for us.
Chanting, "We want to return to our ancestral home," the protesters took to the highway at Yewata, demanding urgent action from the government. In response, the Benue State government has set an operational team to assess the immediate needs of IDP communities and provide targeted intervention. Governor Hyacinthe earlier announced the formation of the team on Wednesday at the government house following the protests that blocked the Makurdi-Abuja highway.
My attention was called to the unfortunate protest by some members of the IDPs at the mega camp over their welfare.
This development comes just a day after the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, visited the state and announced a 1 billion donation for humanitarian services. Governor Alia's remarks were prompted by the growing demands of IDPs eager to return to their ancestral homes.
And this is why we could not wait for even 24 hours to click before we set up the machinery to ensure that the donation of the First Lady went to the appropriate channel to the IDPs. It is not just for the IDPs at the international market, It is for all the IDPs in the state, and they have to be reassured that what is theirs must go to them.
Later that day, the governor decorated 33 police officers attached to the government house who were recently promoted to new ranks. He charged them to redouble their efforts in securing Benue State and the nation. Those decorated include 1 assistant superintendent of police, 22 inspectors and 10 sergeants. Felicity Ndere reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When Midday News returns, Trump raises tariff on Nigerian imports to 15% in fresh round of trade bouts. Details coming shortly, plus foreign sports on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. And in business news, members of the House of Representatives has reaffirmed their commitment to strengthen the nation's oil and gas value chain. Chairman House Committee on Downstream, Honorable Sabas Adamu, stated this at a strategic meeting on Nigeria's economy and petroleum sector. Upong Usoro has details.
In a renewed push to bolster Nigeria's economy and transform petroleum sector, industry leaders and government stakeholders have emphasized the critical role of collaboration and full implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act. Chairman, House Committee on Downstream, Honorable Sabas Adamu, says there is need for collaborative approach in order to strengthen the nation's oil and gas value chain, from transparency in product quality to the modernization of distribution system.
I want to assure you that National Assembly is not oblivious to these realities. We are particularly attentive to recent entry of Dangote into downstream distribution and the marketing, and its potential impact.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, who was represented by the Director of Logistics at the Defense Headquarters, Rear Admiral Jonathan Maman, affirmed that the armed forces have increased security in the coastal areas. He emphasized that the Nigerian Navy and other security agencies are working around the clock to safeguard vital oil infrastructure in order to encourage investment and prevent revenue loss through illegal bunkering and piracy.
We talk about your efficiency, though there is still room for more. We would like to talk about safety in your distribution system.
The chairman of the Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association of Nigeria, Bennett Corey, called on Dangote Refinery to calm its interest in getting into the distribution of petrol products. According to him, the refinery's potential entry into distribution could disrupt existing businesses and lead to significant job losses across the downstream sector.
So because of this, we now say, no, please don't go there. Don't go there. Concentrate on this thing you're doing. You're doing good. You are refining products, good, sell to the marketers, marketers sell to the end users, wonderful. Remove hand from this direct distribution.
While challenges in infrastructure, regulations, and market structure persist, stakeholders say that unity among government, private sector players, and local communities remain key to driving the sector forward. Ubong Usoro for Global TV.
The federal government has fully supported Nigeria's emerging electric vehicle industry, stating its commitment to driving local manufacturing, economic expansion, and job creation. In a statement, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Odunwale, affirmed the government support during a visit to a SAGLIV incorporated EV assembly plant in Lagos. Odunwale stated that the President Bola Tinubu-led administration remained focused on fostering investment and industrial growth through policy that prioritize Nigerians' business. Margarine exporter to the United States will now attract a 15% tariff following the signing of a July 31st executive order by United States President Donald Trump, which modified Americans' reciprocal tariff system. The new tariff, which will take effect from August 7th, formally placed Nigerians among about 40 countries penalized for having what Washington considered an unbalanced trade relationship with the United States. Trump had formally imposed a 14% tariff on Nigerian imports in April as part of a spate of tariff strikes expected to boost United States manufacturing and pushing other countries for what he called years of unfair trade practices. And on foreign scene, the United Kingdom and 13 allied nations have publicly accused Iran intelligence service of ushering a wave of assassination attempts, abductions, and intimidation campaigns against individuals residing in Europe and North America. In a joint statement issued, the governments, including the United States, France, Germany, and Canada, denounced Iran's alleged extraterritorial operations as a flagrant breach of national sovereignty. The group urged the Iranian authorities to halt these activities, which they claimed were increasingly carried out in partnership with international criminal groups. United States President Donald Trump has threatened new sanctions while slamming Russia's military action in Ukraine, as disguising, as he says, he would send his special envoy Steve Witkoff, currently in Israel, to visit Russia next. Russian President Vladimir Putin had already met Witkoff multiple times in Moscow before Trump's effort to mend ties with Kremlin came to a grinding halt. Washington has given Moscow until the end of next week to cease hostilities in Ukraine under threat of severe economic sanctions. United Nations says a threat posed by Islamic State and Al-Qaeda extremists is escalating in Africa and Syria, noting that Africa remains the terrorist activity with groups like Al-Qaeda-linked Jamaat Nasr al-Islam wal-Muslim in West Africa and Shabab in the East steadily expanding territory in the Sahel. Jamaat Nasr al-Islam wal-Muslim is reportedly capable of complex attack involving drones and improvised explosive devices, while Al-Shabaab maintains strongholds in Somalia and deepened ties with Yemen's Houthi rebels. Meanwhile, Islamic State in Iraq and Syria continue to threaten Europe and Americans with radicalized individuals inspired online, as the United Nations cited and linked a vehicle attack in New Orleans that killed 14 people, the deadliest in U.S. since 2016. And in sports, Super Eagles goalkeeper Ojo Olorunleka is on the verge of selling a move to Nigerian Premier Football League. Shooting stars Olorunleka has been clubless since leaving Sudan's outfit, Al-Merrikh, earlier in this year. The 29-year-old is now looking to revive his career by patching tent with the Oluyole Warriors. Nigerians and men 100-meter champion and Paris 2024 Olympic semi-finalist Konyisola Ajayi is ready to face a strong field of challengers for the title at the 2025 national trial, which will be held at Yabatech, Lagos. Ajayi won the title for the first time last year at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City with a time of 10:14, beating Alaba Akintola, who followed closely to take seconds in 10:16, while 2023 champions Odisefemi claimed third in 10:22. This year, Ajayi will face likes of Israel Okun, Fakorede Adekalu, Favor Ashe, Ola Olutunde, and other contenders to defend his title. Super Eagles striker Tolu Akorede is top among the 3 targets of Serie A club Atalanta as they search for players to replace Italy international Mato, who came a switch to Saudi Arabia Fulham striker Rodrigo and Nicola among Atlanta's targets as well, and Atlanta are still looking for replacement for Italy forward, who completed a €65 million transfer to Al-Qais. Meanwhile, the football Italy Ladi priority remains Greek forward Akorede, but it's a pretty tackle deal. That's it on Midday News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across our social media platform now showing on your screen using at Global TV NG. I am Sadia Yakubu saying thank you for watching.